Sports professor Rick Horrow, welcome to Beyond the Scoreboard, the show that goes inside the trillion-dollar business, marketing, legal, administrative, deal-making issues of sports. If you want to get all of the items, the 15 for the week, plus the top 5 philanthropic, plus the top 5 tech, see us at Rick Horrow, horrowsports.com, NBCWashington.com, a whole bunch of places. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Audio Boom, Stitcher, or wherever great content is available. You get all of the items in a concise fashion, so you can talk to your friends about everything related to not the X's and O's on the field. Today, we talk football. We talk the worldwide type, and we talk the American originating type. The NFL wouldn't want me to call it that, but that's effectively what it is. The NFL draft captures the highlights. We'll get into that in a minute. But first, the worldwide view in so many different contexts, including an interview that focuses on using soccer to promote charity like we've never seen. Bethany Henderson of America Scores and DC Scores. See what happens there. Bottom line is, though, to set the stage, MLS has never been stronger. 24 teams this season. MLS had 11 before that. 3 more on the way. Inter Miami CF 2020, Nashville SC next year, Austin FC in the next year, and 30 teams eventually, 28 pretty soon. Don Garber anticipates selecting 28 and 29 in the coming months with no timetable set for 30. Sacramento and St. Louis look like 28 and 29. They're making formal presentations before the Board of Governors, but it puts other cities in the hunt: Detroit, Indy, Phoenix, Raleigh, San Diego, Charlotte. And pro soccer in the U.S. and Canada is thriving, and expansion during the last decade has been a key driver in that growth. So why not continue to keep it going? Don Garber, a master at expansion processes, learned it in the NFL, applies it in soccer. If there are more cities wanting expansion than expansion slots, then string it along and make expansion slots more valuable and more credible and better for TV, better for everybody else. But by the way, the MLS is not just focusing on expansion. They're focusing on issues that are available from the philanthropic perspective and the suggestions of economic perspective as well. Plastics, Adidas' Earth Day celebration, according to HyperBeast, the social responsibility platform. It runs its 4th annual Greener Goals Week through Earth Day. The Green Goals Initiative explores ways to reduce the soccer body's greenhouse gas footprint. MLS also worked with Adidas and others to create special limited edition eco-friendly kits from recycled marine plastic uniforms. All 24 clubs using these outfits during the games on Earth Day weekend, April 1921, this last one. Additionally, MLS clubs and staff volunteering and partnering up with local charities to give back to the community. The new environmentally friendly jerseys encourage soccer fans to decrease single-use plastic usage, raise awareness for plastic pollution, and generally connect sports fans from eco platforms all across the world. A great idea. And how do the MLS platforms seem to expand? Twitch is one of them. The MLS agreement with them includes streamed video coverage of 66 matches from the Elite Youth Tournament. A global audience gets it live from Toyota Stadium in Frisco over the last couple of weeks. The MLS says the league also showcased off-field programming through player engagement seminars, coaching symposium talks, in addition to streaming live matches. The games at the Cup hosted matches both under 17 and under 15 divisions in Generation Adidas Cup, the latest MLS event to integrate Twitch as a featured distribution platform, joining eMLS Cup on March 30 in Boston. Obviously, the MLS getting out ahead of the curve, reaching millennials through Twitch and otherwise. And other examples, by the way, are promoting youth organizations. The DC United guys have turned the corner as far as promotion, reaching out to embassies, expanding their reach at Audi Field, and also a great relationship with DC Scores and America Scores. The coaches kick off with 100 coaches and 3,000 kids. Takes place also in the conjunction with the Cutter Foundation's Kick It for Cutter event a month ago that basically opened the MLS season. quite successfully. They will be building on that, and DC Scores will build significantly as well, including to be announced a deal at a major event venue near Audi Field and otherwise. Bethany Henderson, attorney, entrepreneur, now the director of this entire organization, working closely with DC United to promote all aspects of soccer, youth sports around DC and with America Scores around the country. Here's Bethany Henderson. Rick Horrow, we're at the pre-opening night of the Kick It with Cutter event. It's the MLS opener tomorrow at Audi Field, but it's also a big deal because this is the beginning of a longer relationship. Cutter Foundation, an event that's generating some excitement all over the MLS as well. The other thing that's generating excitement is the social responsibility DC United has had, DC Scores. Bethany Henderson, the executive director of DC Scores. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
You don't have to do this. You can do that. That's fine. That's good. So, I got my own mic. Litigator, Obama administration. I mean, your credentials are just incredibly compelling, and you realize that the power of sports and the social good caused you to get out there and do more. So tell that story.
Absolutely.
Tell us why you're here.
Absolutely. So DC Scores is really cool because it's all about the power of teams. So much like you think about a professional sports team and the power of what a team does for lifting folks up, for giving them confidence, for giving them skills, that's what we do with kids at DC Scores. And that's what I love about what we do and how we do it is we build teams for kids that wrap around them and help them develop not just on the playing field, but on the classroom and in life as well.
And so that's a great mantra and a great mission statement, but give us some specific ideas of what DC Scores really does and how you get involved and how you sustain.
Absolutely. So DC Scores is a nonprofit. We're actually part of a larger national nonprofit called America Scores. It's entirely grassroots run and grassroots funded. So we depend on funding from foundations, from individual donors, and from great partners like DC United as well. And we work with schools. So we actually partner in school buildings. We'll build a team of 30 to 40 kids in a school building. We'll pair them with 4 mentors from within that school building. And through free after-school programs and summer camps, that team will practice and play in our soccer leagues together, full-fledged soccer leagues, just like the pay-to-play world. They'll also write and perform original poetry together. Amazing, incredible stuff the kids perform. It's not roses are red, violets are blue. Yeah. This is hardcore, heavy stuff about the things they face in their lives. We work in high-poverty communities. That same team will also do a service project in their community together. So it's really about mind, body, and soul. That curriculum in and of itself is incredibly enlightening, entrepreneurial, and unique. Did you all come up with that? Is it a combination of best practices of stuff around the world, or is it uniquely yours? How was that created? Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. It is uniquely ours. We were actually founded by a school teacher in Washington, D.C., who 25 years ago noticed that a bunch of her 5th grade girls were hanging around the streets after school in a really difficult neighborhood and thought, this is not good. And she was a soccer player and said to them, hey, you want to learn how to play soccer? Come hang out with me after school. And they did. And she taught them. And the weather got bad and they kept coming.
How did it get scaled?
So we actually, after about 4 years of being run here in Washington, D.C., we started having folks reach out to us from other communities saying, hey, we'd like to do that too. So we're now in 11 cities across the U.S. and Canada.
And so what is the long-term potential? Is it a national/international opportunity as well?
Absolutely. So America Scores model is replicable. It's a wonderful program. It's proven. We have measurable impact on kids' physical fitness. So 83% of kids who start our program obese or overweight actually make physical fitness improvements with us. Kids in Scores do better in school. They perform better on tests, even though we're not doing tutoring, right? They connect more with literacy engagement. The Library of Congress actually gave us a literacy award this year. And we'd like to be in every community that needs us.
And so it must be a constant challenge to continue to stay relevant, to continue to update the curriculum, and to fundraise 24/7.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
But is there you've seen a breakthrough, you've seen improvements, you see a relationship like with DC United here. It's going to make it easier for this one, the next one, the next one.
Absolutely, and I love this relationship with DC United because what the team has done is they have truly embedded DC Scores as their charity partner. And that doesn't just mean we're off to the side. If you're here in Audi Field and you're walking around, you'll see us integrated into the stadium.
Right.
They've got a section of the stadium for kids, so we were actually able to bring the kids in our community, kids who couldn't afford to ever come to an MLS game, to every game. They've got the DC United logo, our kids, in the back of all of their jerseys, their team jerseys. But also the players come out in the community, the staff comes out in the community, they work with our kids, they coach our kids. Coach Ben Olsen comes to our poetry slam and hands out awards. So we're really integrated.
So tell us what the nexus is, the connection with the Qatar Foundation, the 2022 World Cup entity. It's a brilliant idea to get them all fired up both ways about soccer here and soccer in Qatar, and I know you had a significant hand in that as well.
Absolutely. So growing the sport of soccer is important, right? Soccer can do wonders for kids, as we've seen through Scores. It's such an easy on-ramp sport. Any kid can play. You don't need any specialized equipment or even really a special athletic ability. Right. It's the beauty of the team sport of soccer. And so we have actually been working here in D.C. with the Embassy of Qatar for several years now. They've sponsored a winter sports day for our kids, where they bring all the kids together. They do a big cultural event. We have an indoor soccer tournament. The embassy staff come out and play. And so it was natural that we have all of our partners come together around growing the sport of soccer.
The interesting thing about Qatar's foundation is not just how you pronounce it, by the way, but the interesting thing is how they are looking consciously to overcome some perceptions, some of the work issues, abuse issues, oil money, buying things issues. They're all known. But in terms of using sports as social good, the training aspect of it, the growing of soccer, those are really novel and they're very important.
They're very important, and we're a nonpartisan nonprofit, so we try to stay out of that political fray.
Right.
But for us, we're excited to work with anybody who wants to use the sport of soccer to develop kids.
Yeah. So, all right, 5 years from now, Bethany Henderson, where are you and where's DC Scores and where's this whole process?
Gosh, I don't know where I'll be in 5 years from now. But certainly, for DC Scores, we're looking to serve every child who needs us. We serve 3,000 children across 69 schools and rec centers in the district, and we have a 15-school wait list. We can't grow fast enough to meet demand. So if anybody wants to support us, I would appreciate it, dcscores.org, because that's what we really need to grow to be sustainable. My hope is that we will also be, as America Scores, in even more cities, serving even more children than we do now.
dcscores.org, dcscores.org, dcscores.org. Just remember also, this lady was a litigator for many, many years, Obama administration, and now she's out doing social good. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it.
dcscores.org. Bye. Well, Bethany Henderson sure gives us a perspective not only on what DC United is doing in conjunction with MLS and otherwise, but what they are doing to raise awareness for not only field development, but soccer all across the country. It surely inures to the benefit of the entire sporting world, charity as well. Let's not forget, the World Cup is only 3 years away, and the World Cup in the United States and North America shortly after that. Well, let's talk about the other football. I know that's what a lot of people want to think about. It's the Nashville Draft. More events on April 25, 26, 27 than ever before. The 57 cameras, 600-player highlights, ESPN, and NFL Network, 23 draft room cameras, 76 live hours of draft coverage for picking people. It never stops. And also, the draft is used as a deadline to get other stuff done. Russell Wilson signs a $65 million signing bonus, a 4-year, $140 million extension, and wouldn't you know it, it's a little higher than Aaron Rodgers' annual and a little higher than Aaron Rodgers' bonus. Now the Seahawks can turn to signing Bobby Wagner and Frank Clark and others. And by the way, rumors were floated that Russell wanted to play in New York because his wife really wanted to play there. And so whether or not that was true, a rumor mill around the draft always exists, but may never be true. And the bottom line is, got a lot of money there, and that's what the draft and that's what this time is all about. So everybody who has favorites in the draft, mock drafts outnumber real drafts 5-1. The only issue is come end of Saturday, we're exactly going to know who and what and where. Let's talk baseball. Baseball has a number of issues. 2026 All-Star Game goes to Philly, 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Rob Manfred said last week the typical process of awarding All-Star games went out the window with the move to award the 2026 game to the Phillies. Manfred has sought to make competitive bidding and sequential awarding of All-Star key tenets of his tenure since his 2014 election. During an event in Independence Mall last week to announce the selection, Manfred said the move to tie the 2026 game to the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence was a personal decision that followed more than 2 years of repeated requests from Phillies chair and close friend Dave Montgomery, said Manfred. Dave never asked a favor for the Phillies or for himself, but 2 years ago he began asking for this game and to announce it soon. Fittingly, awarding the 2026 All-Star Game to Philly also mirrors the 1976 event that was played at Veterans Stadium, tied into the American Bicentennial. I remember that. Hopefully some of the listeners remember that. Hopefully some of the listeners were too young to remember that. That's where we hope to be trending, by the way. Speaking of stadium, Port of Oakland says the A's waterfront ballpark would pose safety risks. They're raising red flags over the waterfront plan, claiming that the 34,000-seat venue and housing project would pose a safety risk to ships and a threat to the port's future as a major economic engine. The A's countered that the project wouldn't endanger any port jobs or adversely affect the port's shipping business. Mayor Libby Schaaf said the A's want to create a neighborhood along the waterfront. Unlike the Giants' Oracle Park, it sits on a relatively quiet stretch of waterfront. The A's ballpark would be perched right on the edge of the port's inner harbor, a turning basin, and the basin is a key waterway where each week bar pilots turn around and average at 25 ships after the vessels unload and load cargo. The pilots are very concerned about the ballpark's lights, which they claim can act like a car high beam and interfere with a navigator's vision. By the way, the FAA had some problems with the stadium issues that I was working on in Phoenix, on the east side of Phoenix, relative to the Cardinal Stadium, and ended up somewhere else. Just saying. Never know. Baseball off the field, pretty significant as well. Cleveland Indians pitcher Trevor Bauer ramps up his charity efforts with $690 donated for every strikeout he tallies this season. Self-described nerd as a kid, he wants to ensure STEM education gets its fair share of help and has taken to active Twitter pages to let his fans have a say in the charities he'll support. MLB All-Star Game in 2018 produced Bauer's inclusion, and he's poised to make a big splash on the mound as well as in philanthropy this season. And by the way, as you know, the MLB 19 All-Star Game is held where? In Cleveland. Let's talk basketball. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has put forward the idea of adding mid-season tournaments to the league and shortening the number of games played each season. They play 82 games lasting 48 minutes. For Silver, player welfare is reportedly at the heart of the proposed reforms. But to counteract the reduced revenues and a shortened schedule, Silver suggested adding new mid-season tournaments to maintain income. And while acknowledging these changes will do away with more than 50 years of American basketball tradition in the U.S., Silver believes they are necessary for the NBA to stay relevant to fans' viewing habit. The two continents have been earmarked by league and brand growth, NBA in Europe and NBA in Asia. And considering that even older NBA players have so many miles on their bodies, just look at 40-year-old Dirk Nowitzki, Silver is right to begin reimagining his schedule and certainly begin to get feedback on the issue. Well, the Indiana Pacers are going to have a lot of time to deal with that feedback because they're off to play golf. But the good thing is they've agreed to a deal keeping them in Indy for the next 25 years. $295 million in public subsidies for renovation and expansion of Bankers Life, the Pacers' home arena. A further $360 million used for capital improvements, comprising $270 million from the state and CIB sources and $65 million privately. And as part of the deal, the city of Indianapolis also contributes $25 million to public infrastructure. Approved by the House of Representatives, the green-lighted bill now goes to the Senate to be voted on to secure final approval. Construction will be completed in 3 phases. Phase 1 on interior. This won't disrupt the Pacers' home games. It'll be scheduled for February through October of 2020. The Fever and Pacers play during the summer, have to play home games during the 20 and 21 seasons at another venue, though. And Herb Simon, the team's 84-year-old owner, said he wants to keep the Pacers in Indiana, and the son, Steve Simon, will take over the franchise. It's been in their family since 1983. Basketball viewership, by the way, down 8% during the regular season, but marketers lined up to take part in the NBA postseason. The 85 to 95% of the ads on the Turner family and ESPN family are already sold out. Moreover, numerous postseason superstars have huge social media followings that help draw viewers, particularly younger ones. Perhaps with that in mind, Adidas Basketball and Marvel unveiled a campaign for a new limited edition Heroes Among Us shoe collection featuring 5 current and former NBA and WNBA players: James Harden, Iron Man; Trailblazers, Damian Lillard; Black Panther; Wizards, John Wall; Captain America, former NBA Tracy McGrady; Nick Fury; and the WNBA Sparks, Candace Parker, Captain Marvel. The shoe line available April 26 as the playoffs tip off their second round. Finally, I can't believe he waited for this, because everybody, that's all they're talking about, so I purposely waited, but it's good. The good things, maybe you say, come to last. Tiger Woods, $22.5 million of exposure to Nike, his win, according to the Apex Marketing Group, as he made his final round charge toward the title. Over $23.5 million in incremental additional exposure for sponsors. AT&T, Gillette, and Tag Heuer left Woods and probably regret it. Monster Energy, Woods' golf bag sponsor, saw about $1 million in exposure during his final round at Augusta. CBS News noted Nike's stock price rose 2% after the Masters continued to edge up Monday following Woods' victory, adding more than $2 billion to Nike's market value. The Tiger effect was also enough to boost the stock prices of other golf brands. Callaway Golf spiked as much as 4% from the start through Monday, and Acushnet Holdings, which owned Titleist, jumped nearly 5% during the same period. Golf Now, Jack Nicklaus's competition, the Tiger Impact All-Moving Golf. Will it fit and reach the younger demographic? We'll have to see. And finally, Tiger Woods learned last week he would receive the highest Presidential Medal of Freedom from Donald Trump. Again, the highest civilian honor in the United States. He announced in a tweet he had spoken to Woods with presenting him with the honor. Not one to be taken lightly, by the way. Woods became just the 4th golfer to receive the medal: Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Charlie Sifford. While Nicklaus and Palmer were given the medal by President George W. Bush during his presidency, Sifford was a mentor to Woods, was honored 5 years ago by President Barack Obama. And when Sifford was awarded the medal, Woods tweeted his congratulations. He'll be the 4th athlete to receive the award during President Bush's time in office: Babe Ruth, Roger Staubach, Alan Page. Well, that's it for Beyond the Scoreboard this week. We'd like to thank Bethany Henderson and the folks at DC United, as well as America Scores and DC Scores, for creating such a fantastic program. I'd like to thank Tanner Simpkins, Dan Martin, and others for putting this together. We'd also like to thank you for listening and joining us. Join us once again as the playoffs intensify, and others as we go Beyond the Scoreboard.